Good morning, guys. Welcome to Graph Using Slope-Intercept Form. So the last couple days we've been trying to rearrange equations so that we could get y alone. And when we do that, it gets in this thing called slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So let's talk about what all these things are. So first of all, the y is always just going to stay y, and the x is going to just stay x. But it's the m and the b that are the key parts of this. The m ends up being the slope, which we've done, right? Slope, remember, is just the fraction rise over run. And then the b is something called the y-intercept. And it ends up being a point on the graph that intersects the y-axis. So it's a point on the graph, or on the line, that is on the y-axis. So you really have to know this vocab here. So y equals mx plus b. The y is just a y, the x is just an x. The m is the slope, rise over run. The b is the y-intercept, which is the point on the y-axis. All right, so let's talk about how to do one of these. So let's say you guys get an equation. First thing you have to do to graph it is rearrange it into this slope-intercept form. I'm going to abbreviate slope-intercept form. And just a reminder, that is y equals mx plus b. Now, once you have it in y equals mx plus b first, you always graph the y-intercept first. And remember, that is the b. You always do that first. Okay, and just a reminder, b is the y-intercept. Then, secondly, you use the slope to graph more points. And just a reminder, m is the slope. All right, let's try one. So, example 1. First thing you have to do is get y by itself. So let's go ahead and rearrange it so that y, positive y, is all alone. And to do that, we are going to subtract the 3x over. All right, so if you rewrite it, it's y equals, and remember, I always like to rewrite it so the x part is first. So instead of 2 minus 3x, I'm going to write it as negative 3x plus 2. It doesn't matter, but I like that better. All right, so here's what we do. We always start with the b. So I say begin with the b. So in this equation here, which number is the y-intercept? If it's y equals mx plus b, I hope you guys agree that the 2 is the b. So we're going to start by making a point at 2 on the y-axis, because that's the y-intercept. And then we're going to find, we're going to use our slope to find more points. So if our slope is negative 3, then we're going to write it as a fraction, negative 3 over 1. Okay, so from our y-intercept, we're going to go down 3, right 1. Down 3, right 1. And then all I need is 3 points. And then if you guys could find something straight, I'm like working out of my purse here, we'll connect the dots, and that is our line. Okay, I'm going to grab some water so my throat's not gross for you guys for the rest of the video. But that's graphing a line in slope-intercept form. Okay, let's try a couple more. Okay, so number 1. Now, these are easier because, look, they're already in y equals mx plus b form. So you can skip the whole rearranging step. Okay, so number 1, begin with the b. That number is always the y-intercept. Okay, and remember how we make it. We make a point at that number on the y-axis. And then we find the slope. And that's the mx part. So the slope is -1/4. All right, so we're going to go from this point, we're going to go down 1, right 4. You could also go up 1, left 4. And then remember, your point should always make a line, connect the dots, and you're good. All right, let's try one more easy one. Begin with the b. The b is the y-intercept, and that is at +5. Okay, so we start by making a point at 5 on the y-axis. And then you're going to move with the m, move with the slope. The slope is the one in front of the x, so it's -2. But I'm going to write it as a fraction, -2/1, because then I can really see the rise and the run. Okay, so from this point, I'm going to go down to right 1, down to right 1. And that's our line. So super easy. Okay, flip it over. Let's try one more where you have to rearrange first. Okay, so number 3. And if you guys want to try any of these on your own, feel free to pause it. Okay, so number 3. Now this one we do have to rearrange first. So in order to get y alone, we're going to have to subtract the 2x over first. And then you guys know me, I'm going to rearrange it. I just want to make sure this isn't the same one. No, okay. So I'm going to rearrange it. Instead of 3 minus 2x, I'm going to put -2x plus 3. Okay, so here's y equals mx plus b. The b is the 3. So that's the y-intercept. So we make a dot at y equals 3. And then our slope is this -2. But I'm going to write it as a fraction, -2/1. You can always put a number over 1. Okay, so that means that from this point, we have to go down to right 1. Down to right 1. And then connect the dots, and we're done. So if you guys are feeling good, feel free to stop. I am going to do one more for anybody who wants one last problem to practice. Okay, so this one's optional if you need it. And this one's actually a little bit harder. So number 4, we obviously have to rearrange it first. So we're going to start by subtracting the x over. And then we have 3y equals, I'm going to write it as -x plus 9. I always like to switch the order. And then we're not done. We have to get y alone, so we need to divide every single piece by 3, because that's going to get y alone. All right, so what do we have? We have y equals. Now, this looks a little weird. If there's no number here, I'm going to put a 1, and I'm really going to write this as -1/3 x plus, and then 9 divided by 3, why don't we just call 3? So that one was a little bit harder. Okay, begin with the b. This is the y-intercept, 3. We're going to start by making that on the y-axis. And then the slope is the number in front of the x, so the -1/3. And again, that means from this point, down 1, right 3, or up 1, left 3. As long as you have a negative slope, you're good. Connect the dots. And we are done. All right, thank you guys for watching. We'll practice in class tomorrow.